I think over 1,500 kids that are there. And our group truly is the best. So you guys should be very proud of your kids and how you've raised them. I love seeing them work. I love seeing them get along with each other. The older kids just kind of taking in the younger kids and just guiding them and leading them. And one of the most special parts of the week was when Mason surrendered his heart to the Lord. And during the service, while it was happening, you had all these older kids just laying their hands on Mason. It was like they knew he needed that. And that just makes me smile, because I know that these kids are a good group of kids. So you would be so proud. And next year, Pastor, you got to come back. We missed you. Really, we truly missed you. But it's a great time, and we definitely appreciate all that you guys put into it, for the fundraisers and the prayers, and then the parents for preparing the kids and, trusting them with us. So I look forward to next year. I know it'll be some of these kids' last year, maybe my last year too, Garland. Just kidding. But I look forward to it, and I just love these kids. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. Now Kylan will come up.
Hey y'all, I'm Kylan. This was my second camp this year, and it was last year I think was one of my favorite camps, but this had to top it a little bit. The whole week, I didn't tell anybody but Jake, but I don't want to out you out, Mason, but the entire week, I told nobody but Jake that I had been praying and praying and praying for Mason to come to the Lord, and it happened. And when I tell you, I was fighting back tears the entire time. It was jumping so hard. When he walked out, oh my gosh, that was one of the, oh my gosh, it makes me want to cry already. But that was it was everything and more, just seeing him go. That was a big, big prayer answered. But just seeing everybody work together, work hard, it was funny. When we were working, I don't know if you saw, we're digging out driveways by hand, no machines, axes, shovels, kind of sucked. But I got to talk, it sucked a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I got to talk to the older men and the people who were volunteering. They don't have Habitat for Humanity does not have scheduled people that come. They're all volunteers over the age of 60, 55, 60, not old at all. But they volunteer their time and only on certain days, and they work their butts off continuously, and they were just sweating, and my heart went out to them, and those houses are for people who cannot afford houses or can't get the means to make ends meet. So it's just really a blessing for us to go there and do the hard work, what people needed to get done, what the older guys couldn't really get done by themselves. So it was a blessing for us to be able to go and do that. It was only 3 days, but man, the older boys put a lot of work in, made a big, big dent. What else? Oh, I wanted to talk about the whole theme of the week was revival, and the whole Fuge camp was revival generation and how we're going to be the revival generation. And I hear a lot, this country needs a revival, our world needs a revival. I wholeheartedly agree, but what our pastor was talking about was we can't expect there to just be an uproar of revival when we don't have revival in our own hearts. So we talked about how to start that revival in our own hearts and get that fire going, because how are we supposed to light or expect people's fires to be burning when we don't have that fire inside of us? So that was just the big revival generation, be the revival generation, but go out and set forth revival in other people, and just need prayer for our country immediately, definitely. But that was just the theme for this week was revival, revival, revival. Set fire in your own heart before you can light other people's matches. I don't know what else. I think that's it. Okay, Jake, your turn.
Appreciate that. First of all, my name is Jake McClannon, and thank y'all for all this continuous support every year we go to camp. This is my third year, and all 3 years have been great in their own ways. I want to thank our staff members that went with us, our group leaders, Miss Liz, Garland. I guess Alan was there too. But yeah, it was a great time. I grew with Miss Liz. It's a great group, and definitely want to go with anybody else. So I guess I'm gonna pass the mic to my favorite supervisor on the work job site, Tyler Aiken.
Just go down the line. 2 years in a row. Just go. Hi, my name's Tyler. Yeah, what he said, it's just a fun year. This is my 4th year. You got it wrong. 4th year going to camp. Thank you guys for your support. Help us get there. Gosh, they kind of took everything. I enjoyed serving the Lord, and the work was not fun at all, but it was for a good deed. Helping those people out, and you're coming next year.
I'm Josh. I just want to thank all y'all for all the support and raising all the money for us to go this year. And I'm really bad at this, sorry. The food was better than last year. Really a lot better. And that's all I got. So.
Hi, Mason. This is my first year, and I just want to say thank you for everything you guys have donated and all that. And I wasn't there last year, but they said the food really sucked, and I'm glad I didn't go last year because that food. But I can tell you one thing, that help building the houses definitely showed me that it was nice. It was fun. I'm glad that I went. You want me to be this close? That good? Just thank you guys.
So I want to thank all you guys for supporting us. Had a fun time this year. Loved our leader. We had Tony. He was a great dude. He was really good at connecting with us and teaching us at the same time, so I really appreciate that. I had work easy, and I was out there screwing things in houses, so it wasn't hard. What else? Oh, and that ice cream. Let me tell you, Josh can agree, dangerous, absolutely dangerous. Mega was fun. We really got to compete. We came, second? Second, so we did pretty good. That's it. That's all I got. I'm out. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Lily's got to come up next. So that dirt was red, and I can see all of their shoes are still dyed from the dirt. And I wanted to say that I saw through an email that the house that they were working on just got finished and given to the family. So I really wanted to mention that. Also, this group is so amazing. The amount of stuff that I saw as an adult going rather than a camper was absolutely wild, and I'm so glad that these kids are raised right. Because some kids don't have discipline, and it shows. So, yeah, Lily. Mr. Allen.
Yes, I did, and I expect my allowance. Right, well, I'm moving out. So no kids were lost, and I don't think they were, and no kids were hurt. So there you go. I didn't wear a shirt. I'm going to make that other obvious thing here, but it didn't fit. So when I washed it, it shrank. So just throwing that out there in case you're wondering why I'm not wearing the shirt. So I was able to go to camp this year. I should be graduating high school next year and then that'll be my last year. But Pastor wasn't unable to go this year, so I got to go. But as you've heard, everybody says, "You're going next year," which means they don't want me to go back. I'm picking. I think the biggest takeaway from camp for me was the fact that, and I'm not just saying this because parents are here or people are watching that have helped donate, but there were a lot of kids there. I don't know the number. I'm just going to say I was thinking about 1,200, probably about 1,200 kids there. I'm just going to be real with you. I'm going to be very real. This is going to be as real as I can be. There was about 1,000 kids there that I genuinely feel were just not there for the right reasons. And as Sienna said, it shows. We saw some things that were disappointing. The reflection that I got back from that was how awesome, and I'm not saying this because you're here, that the 19 or so that went with us, how they acted. Or they weren't even acting. It's who they are. It's their characters. It's the person that they are. When we say that they were raised right, it showed. There was no doubt about it. I have thought about that weeks after camp, of just how amazing these young people are. I would be happy to go with them anywhere. As far as the workload goes, Neil, don't ever buy a Kubota or a John Deere, because your boys, and especially your oldest, for us that were born in the 1900s, you know what a pitch axe is, right? So we know what those are. Tony, you probably dig a pond with one all the time. But that young man ran a pitch axe and a shovel. He did work that, seriously, the skid steer would have never been able to accomplish. It was 109 heat index, because at 110 they were having to shut the work down. That was their rule. So at 109, and I'm thinking those older men might have told them, "Hey, it's only 109, keep those young people here," because they were knocking it out. I mean, they really were. And if we're relating to tractors here, like the Kubota and stuff, these gentlemen were antiques, but they were phenomenal for being there. But the workload they were able to accomplish in such a short period of time was mind-blowing to me. I mean, I broke a sweat just standing there watching them the whole time. I mean, there was pitch axe flying in a capacity that it was not safe to be in there, so I stayed at a distance and I watched from the shade tree to make sure no one, got hurt. And so I would say that's why none of the young people were hurt, because I was watching well. So if any of your kids ever tell you that they don't have the ability to work at home, we've got video. Neil, don't buy the Kubota. So I think another positive to take away from this was these young people, they served and they worked hard. One of the beautiful things to take away from it is they will not get to see or meet the family that they did the work for. So my takeaway from that was that wasn't their reason for doing it. You know, a lot of times in society we'll see people want to do something for the pat on the back. They're not going to get to see these families. They're not going to get to see the wow moment of when they take over the keys of the new possession of this home and the driveway is level and coming in smooth. Speaking of driveway, I don't think they even had to pave that thing. They should have just left the dirt there. It would have probably been harder than concrete. But it's just the fact that they served so hard with purpose. Easily with that heat index, they could have taken more breaks, and they didn't. I'll keep reflecting on Jake. Jake, did y'all see his picture? He looked like the cabin air filter of a combine. I'm like, Jake, just take a break. No, we need to help these gentlemen that are here working, because when we leave, they're going to have to do it. And it was just a beautiful thing to see everybody come together and work so hard and serve with a purpose. And us adults, we can reflect on that. We're here listening to them share, and Garland and us adults sharing about what we witnessed. As adults in society and in our homes and our communities today, we can also serve with a purpose. It doesn't always have to be the kids go to camp and they do it. We can do this daily as well. And I think it would be a great challenge from the young people going to camp to all of us that are here. How can we serve our homes and communities with purpose? We don't have to see the big wow moment. Just do it to reflect the love of Christ. As far as the food goes, they said last year was worse than it was this year. Okay? That was probably really bad. The food the food was not bad. I am a very, very picky eater. I'm a very picky eater. But they had everything that I eat covered. Hamburgers, pizzas, ice cream, right? They had a couple of vegetable sections, but I never went and looked at those. The problem was, every day it was pizzas, hamburgers, ice cream, and one day they snuck in a grilled cheese, and that was life-changing. I don't know if it's because it was so good or if it was the fact that it was not a hamburger or pizza for me. They had a rotation that they would cook a nice meal every night, but it had vegetables in it, so I had to stay away. I've probably killed a lot of time having a pastors. I can hear him over there. But is there anything else I need to talk about? The last thing I think I would speak of is I was roomed with Garland, and you really get to know somebody when you spend a few nights in a shoebox. I didn't go off to college like that, and I've never stayed in a dorm per se like that, but I commend people that go to college and sleep in those things. They're pretty small. But to share peanut butter crackers, at midnight with one of your best friends, to be able to be there with this crowd was just pretty awesome, and I do appreciate the opportunity to get to go. I'm glad you became a grandpa again, and I was able to go. So with that being said, thank you all.
So it was a very good trip. We had 19 students go with us. We had 6 adult leaders. A lot of our students tonight, there was open house, I think, at the high school. And then we have a lot of boys playing football and soccer. So a lot of them aren't here tonight, but we had a really good group. We had a lot of boys. And typically for most youth groups, it's the other way around. I guess one experience I've taken from this year's trip is the fact that this has always been a high school trip. We kind of are different from a lot of other youth groups. That it was always a reward for our students. Before COVID, our youth group was bigger. COVID changed a lot of that. We lost a lot of kids at that time, and we're just starting to get them back now. And so it was always a high school trip. Like the kids in middle school had to earn it. We would always kind of push them to go to Camp Kale, and then our high school kids would get to go because, number one, I'm not a babysitter. We've always tried to teach these kids to be responsible, give them some freedom because they need to know how to act. And so they don't need me. There's youth groups out there where they have to meet their youth pastor and they literally hold hands like a train to go to dinner and things like that. And I'm not going to do it. If they miss dinner, then they miss dinner. That's life lessons in my opinion. And so we've always had a great group. We've never had a lot of issues. And then we had a bunch of these boys in middle school. And Liz was like, can't we take Tyler and Jake and Evan and who else was it? And AJ and Nash. And I was like, well, it's a high school trip. But we had this influx of kids graduating, and we had open spots. And so I was like, all right, Liz, I'm going on faith. We're going to open it up to these 8th graders. And they changed that perspective because of how well they acted. And to see that now with these boys, 3 of them are here tonight. I think we've got about 8 high school boys this year who will be graduating. And to see them invest in our middle schools, and you can see this row back here, these young men didn't get to go, but they're all middle schoolers that are just now starting to come to the group. So it's like this transition. I kind of see this transition unfolding of these young men who are now kind of like passing that torch, kind of showing them this is how you need to act. This is how you act. This is how you serve. And it's been awesome to be able to witness that over the last 4 years that these young men have gone. Alan's right, Liz is right, Sienna's right. Jenna, my daughter, got to go. She lives in Raleigh, so she couldn't be here tonight. And so to see like Sienna and even my daughter to be able to for so long were in youth group and then become like youth leaders and chaperones for these trips. And when we go, I don't do a lot of teaching. I leave it up to like Liz and my daughter taught a lesson one night. Sienna has a lot to say. I tried not to let Alan talk too much. But just to see our adults and our older kids invest, it's awesome. And they're right. Our kids are hands down, and we're told that every year. Like our leaders, the people they assign. Just to kind of elaborate on what he's saying about maybe 1,000 kids are there for the wrong reasons. I don't want you to take that the camp's not good. The camp is run extremely well. What Fuge does, they provide every opportunity for these kids to hear the gospel. And the camp pastor we had this year, I thought was one of the best we've had in a long time. I mean, from the first night, he's like, all right, we're getting saved tonight, like invitation every night. And by the grace of God, we were praying, and Mason gave his life to Christ this week, or that week, and it was awesome. And to see those boys laying hands on Mason and praying for him, it was just, we were all crying. It was awesome. And then to see Mason make it public and walk across that stage, and what you didn't see is they have a bell. They have this bell, and if you gave your life to Christ that week, you have to get up because we don't, you need to make it public. Jesus didn't die in a closet. He died on the cross for all mankind to see. And Mason made it public, and he walked across and he rang that bell, and we were screaming and shouting. And I'd say probably 100 students, maybe 100, got saved that week at camp. So, but there are kids that go there because it's a camp and it is fun. Our kids, I think there was 40 churches there, and they do this big mega relay at the end of the week, and they're not allowed to practice at all. We show up that last night, and they demonstrated what they have to do, and it's crazy. They got to run and carry each other, drag each other, throw each other down, do all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, it's insane. And they got second place out of 40 churches. And so they're ready for next year. They're ready to bring back that trophy. We had a great trip. They work phenomenal. They work so hard. So he's right. If they're not doing chores at home, parents, then they're poof. So what you saw is red clay, and Alan's right. The clay is harder than the concrete. Like we could not put a shovel would not go an inch into it. We had to hit it with pickaxes to break it up so that we could scoop it up and then wheelbarrow it to the backyard. All these hills, all these houses are on hills. I think 2 years ago, we actually dug French drains by hand in this clay. So I think they wait for the summer to come because they know the church groups are coming, and they do everything by hand. We did everything by hand. So they work so hard, and I'm so proud of them. And I'm so thankful for a church and a community that believes in their youth and provides the financing for our kids to go. Just so many of you walk up to me and say, let me know. If you're short, let me know. Give me money. Hey, put it on the kids. So that's just a blessing, and it's just an example of the giving in this church, and Pastor has always had a heart for our youth, and it starts with the leadership. And I think when the leadership sees how important it is to invest in our youth, then I think everybody else will follow. And again, parents, you've done a great job raising these kids. They're all a blessing to be around, and I can't think of another place I'd rather be in 109 degrees with these kids. So thank you again. We had a great trip, and I'll give it over to Pastor James.
I was trying to draw my memory out, which is not real good, but I was thinking that probably it was around the year 2000 that we started attending Centrifuge Camp. If that's correct, then this would have been our 25th year, I guess. We should have had a celebration, but I think that's right, around 20. So you can imagine the young people that we've taken over the years to South Carolina, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, different places to have camp. And, you know, I've thought about what Alan said, and I understand what he said, but I want you to know this too, that there might have been 1,000 there that went for the wrong reason, but they came home with the right heart. Some of them, not 1,000, but some of them did. And so you had 100 kids saved there. That's an amazing thing, and something for us to be grateful for. And many of our young people who have found the Lord as a result of camp. And now, that Saturday before the camp, now I couldn't go. I knew that I would have been. I tried to arrange it, but I have a boss, and she made it very clear that I would not jeopardize the time that we might have to be there. So our daughter was not due until 2 weeks later. But that Saturday morning, we got a call, and she said, "I'm in labor. I'm having contractions." And so I told Dawn. I said, "She says she's having contractions. What do you want to do?" She said, "Let's go." And we jumped in the car and we drove up Saturday, and then Sunday morning, early in the morning, about 2-something, on the 14th, she gave birth to the absolute most beautiful female child you've ever seen in your entire life, no holds barred. So then Monday, I know the routine, and I'll be honest with you, I struggled. You know, you guys know that I struggle not being there. I don't really give a rip about Alan. I struggled about being there. You know, I mean about him being there, not the, but so that Monday they were still in the hospital, and Dawn and I were home. I said, "Honey, I need to go to Walmart." And she said, "For what?" I said, "I'm sure there's something I need." She said, "Okay." So she knew what I was doing, and because I knew they'd be at Walmart in the afternoon, I almost timed it wrong. I got there just as they were coming out to the bus, but they don't have a clue how emotional I was when I pulled up there and saw that bus and saw them coming out, and some of these big guys coming up to me and hugging me. I mean, it just meant the world to me. And then Alan, of course, came up and wanted to talk about my white legs. But anyhow, yeah, well, you know. And, you know, some of us don't get to go outside. But anyhow, so we just they just blessed my heart. And I tell you, you've heard it several times how good these guys are and girls, ladies. And to be able to, I remember the first year that Jake and y'all went and Nash. And I remember somehow I got stuck with, I mean, I had the privilege of having a couple of those guys go with me in the neighborhood, and we covered this large neighborhood giving out flyers. And I'm telling you, I did not know them, and we started walking out, and immediately those guys just respected me. They talked to me. They just were kind. They were fun. They were silly. We just had a great time, and it's just been a bond for me over those years. Last year, they do this thing with yarn every year. I have mixed emotions about it, but and they know that, and tell them that every year, but they keep doing it. But so last year they tied my yarn. Liz tied it. Jenna tied it. Came home. Got Heather tied it. Dawn tied it. It just wouldn't stay on. It fell off. Or a year before last. I'm sorry. No, that's right. Last year. So the year before that, we had a certain ribbon, certain color. Yarn, and I put too much on my arm, too much of it. You know, it was larger than I intended for it to be. But the one that I had on last year would never stay. But I never did cut the other one off, and I still have it on my arm, and I wear it every day. It's never been off since 2 years ago when we were at camp, and I know a lot of them try to wear it as long as they can. Some of them make it. Garland pretends he makes it, but usually doesn't. And he did make it this year. But for 2 years, this has been on my arm. And I can't tell you the times that I've preached a lot of places, and I'm in charge of several different kinds of meetings. And I've had people, look at, this guy out there in a suit and whatever, and they look. And I've had them ask me, so what's up with that? I said, this thing, what it represents to me is a tremendous amount of love. And that's what I have for these young people. And so for 25 years, we've tried to find a way to make sure they experience camp. And They may go with the wrong reasons, the wrong thoughts, and some of them will come back the same way, just as they went. But some will come back moved and changed, and over the years, many of them will do that. And so that's why it's always worth the effort. So we're grateful for that. And I don't know that I'll go next year. It's, at some point you gotta realize your limits. And next year I'll be 2 months from being 70 years old, so I think that's probably against the law. So I don't know, but I've begged them for a rocking chair. They won't give me one, so they're probably not going to go. But anyhow, I would do anything for these kids, just like I would do anything for you. I mean, that's my heart for you. I love you dearly. I love them, and it's a privilege to be able to be a part of a ministry that loves young people, because that's where it's at. And it's also and I've told you this so many times, all of you, the same people that come every time we have these. So you've heard this before, but it's so dear to my heart because that's where I truly surrendered my heart to Jesus, was at camp. It wasn't a centrifuge camp. It was a Camp Caraway, where I've been able to go many times since as a leader of the state convention. And but that Thursday night, giving my heart to Christ, and life-changing for me. And that night, I lost friends. I mean, I definitely lost friends right on the spot. And but I gained the best friend I've ever had in my life, and that's Jesus. So guys, I love you, and I prayed for you when you were there. I was excited to see you. Those of you that all of you, I was excited to see you, but some of you just didn't care. You went on the bus. But most of you came and hugged on me, and I appreciate that. And it was just a blessing. What a blessing to see you guys being there. We're going to go ahead and have prayer time, and I'll just share a couple with you real quick. Bob Kimball's home sick, and also Angela Farrell is not here. She is she? No. Okay. She has battled cancer before, and she had a gallbladder taken out recently. And when they took the gallbladder out, they found some spots and some things, and which is a good thing, because they were so small that they would not have showed up on a scan. So they found them while they were taking her bladder out, and they're able to deal with those. So be praying for her. So she says to thank you for your prayers, and she's very uplifting and full of joy. And so continue to pray for Angela Farrell and her family. Do we have any other prayer requests tonight? Anybody? Okay. I wasn't aware of Arabella's issues until today. She shared with me some. Have you ever heard them say, I'm going to come back to Arabella. Have you ever heard them say, keep the fork? When the guest comes and take the food, they say, keep the fork. You know that when they say that, it means something sweet's coming. I see these people getting up, walking out the door. I know something sweet's getting ready to get prepared for it. I'm excited. Now, if I'd been spiritual, I'd have made that spiritual, keep the fork because something sweet's coming, but I just saw that and got excited. All right, so, but I didn't, I knew that she had some issues, but I didn't know what they were, and I don't know if it's public, so I don't, okay, so I'll just say, Arabella Barato, just be praying for her, and as they're going through some tests and so forth, to try to figure out how to get her well, so thank you. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Sienna started her job today, and her mother refers to it as a big girl job. So we're happy for Sierra. Thank you. Any other prayer requests or praises? All right. Y'all are shy tonight. Kids are in here, and you just bottle right up, don't you? Okay. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer. Father, we are truly grateful tonight for the privilege to come, as I said earlier, to be in this place on a Wednesday night and to listen to our young people and hear these stories, Father. And sometimes we hear stories that are very similar from the year before and the year before and the year before. But they are experiences. They're stories that these young people will never forget, that they'll hold dear to their hearts, many of these experiences. And so, Lord, we're grateful that they had those years of that kind of education. That's the kind of education that's going to help them. Not the other won't, but that will be a big deal in their life as they move forward to work or service or college or whatever it is they choose to do. And so, Father, I just pray that you would instill that in their hearts and their lives as they grow in that each year, and especially this year. And thank you for the fact that they did all come back and that none were hurt. And that is a praise, because that often does not happen. So we're grateful for that. And we thank you for their parents, Lord, who are here with us tonight and sharing with us. And we just thank you that they allow us to have time with their young people and be able to invest in them. And they invest in us too, in a large degree. And we're grateful for that. So, Lord, for these prayer requests tonight, Lord, we just raise them to you and ask you to minister specifically to Angela and Bob and Arabella. And we just pray, God, that you would give them the strength and the endurance they need as they go through testing or recuperating, whatever it is they're experiencing in this moment. We thank you, Lord, for Sienna's job. We pray that you'll use her mightily in that position to your glory. And Father, we just pray tonight that you will give us all a safe journey home. We thank